The morning sunlight filtered through the blinds, casting soft golden streaks across the modest kitchen of the Thompson home in a quiet California suburb. The air smelled of fresh coffee, the comforting aroma mixing with the faint scent of laundry detergent and the crisp morning breeze drifting in from the open window. At the small kitchen table, 8-year-old Mikey Thompson sat with his legs swinging slightly above the floor, his sneakers lightly tapping against the wooden chair. His metal leg braces, necessary for his cerebral palsy, caught the light as he carefully maneuvered his spoon into his cereal bowl. Every movement took effort, but Mikey never complained. He was used to working harder than other kids. Across from him, his mother, Sarah, watched with quiet admiration. She was a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, working long hours to keep their little household running smoothly. Raising Mikey alone wasn't easy, but she had never once regretted the life they had built together. She had learned to find strength in the quiet moments, in the little victories, like watching Mikey complete a movement in therapy or seeing his face light up at a joke Grandpa Joe told. And then there was Grandpa Joe, sitting near the window, a steaming cup of black coffee in his hands. He was a Vietnam veteran, once a man of discipline, now a grandfather who had softened with age. He adored Mikey, always telling him stories and reminding him that real strength wasn't about what your body could do, it was about what your heart refused to give up on. As Mikey finished his cereal, his eyes drifted out the window to where the neighborhood kids raced their bikes down the street. Their laughter rang in the air, untamed and free. A shadow crossed his face for just a moment before he turned back to his mother. "Mom, do you think I could ride a bike one day?" he asked, his voice hopeful but uncertain. Sarah hesitated, her heart aching. "Maybe," she said gently. "Maybe one day." Grandpa Joe sipped his coffee, watching them both. "Sometimes, life gives you exactly what you need, even if it doesn't come the way you expected." And outside, down the street, a 3-legged golden retriever mix limped along the sidewalk, unaware that his life was about to change forever. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the cracked sidewalk as a 3-legged golden retriever mix limped past a row of suburban houses. His fur, once a brilliant shade of honey, was now dull and matted, patches of dirt clinging to his thin frame. He had once belonged to someone, once had a home, a name, a warm bed, but that was before the accident. Before he lost his leg. Before his owner decided he was no longer good enough. Now, he wandered the streets, scavenging for scraps, avoiding the sharp stares of people who either pitied or ignored him. He had long since stopped expecting kindness. At the corner of Maplewood Drive, a grocery store stood, its parking lot half full with customers carrying out bags of food. The retriever sniffed the air, his stomach twisting with hunger as the scent of rotisserie chicken and fresh bread drifted toward him. He hesitated near the curb, knowing that venturing too close to humans often led to trouble. Inside the store, Mikey Thompson sat in the passenger seat of his mother's car, his fingers absent-mindedly playing with the Velcro strap of his leg braces. They had just finished his physical therapy session, and while his mom loaded the groceries into the trunk, he stared out the window. That's when he saw him. A dog, moving carefully, his gait uneven, his missing front leg forcing him to shift his weight awkwardly with every step. Mikey's breath caught in his throat. The retriever stopped near a trash can, sniffing at an empty wrapper before pawing at it weakly. A man exiting the store noticed and shooed him away, his voice sharp. The dog flinched and backed up a few steps before lowering his head, as if he already knew he was unwelcome. Mikey's heart clenched. He knew that feeling. He knew what it was like to watch kids run ahead of him while he struggled to keep up. He knew what it was like to be looked at with pity, to have people assume he wasn't strong enough. And most of all, he knew what it was like to want to belong. "Mom," he said suddenly, his voice urgent. "Look." Sarah turned, following his gaze. She saw the dog, saw the ribs pressing against his fur, the way he carried himself like he had already learned not to hope. "Oh, sweetheart," she said softly. "He's probably a stray." Mikey's fingers tightened on his seatbelt. "Can we help him?" Sarah hesitated. They already had so much on their plate, her long shifts, Mikey's therapy, the bills that always seemed to pile up. Taking in a stray dog wasn't practical. "I don't know, honey," she said, carefully. From the back seat, Grandpa Joe had been watching quietly. His weathered hands rested on his cane, his sharp eyes taking in the boy and the dog, both different, both struggling, both waiting for someone to tell them they weren't broken. "That dog's got some fight in him," Joe murmured. Mikey turned to him. "You think so?" Joe nodded. "Reminds me of someone I know." Mikey knew exactly who he meant. Sarah let out a small sigh, already knowing where this was going. She had spent years learning how to pick her battles with both her father and her son, and this was one she wasn't sure she wanted to win. "All right," she said finally. "But we need to be careful. He might be scared." Mikey beamed, unbuckling his seatbelt as Sarah opened the car door. Across the parking lot, the retriever lifted his head, his brown eyes meeting Mikey's for the first time. And in that moment, something shifted. A quiet understanding passed between them, something deep and unspoken, two souls who knew what it felt like to be left behind. And though neither of them knew it yet, their lives were about to change forever. The three-legged retriever mix sat at the edge of the Thompsons' living room, his ears flat against his head, his eyes darting between Mikey and Sarah. The smell of warm food filled the air, roast chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes, but the dog didn't move from his spot. Sarah had placed a bowl of water and kibble near the door, but he hadn't touched it. He was too busy watching, waiting, unsure if this was real, if this new place would be safe. Mikey, sitting cross-legged on the couch, watched him just as intently. He had never had a dog before. He'd read about kids who ran through parks with their dogs, played fetch, rolled in the grass together. But as he looked at the retriever's missing leg, he wondered if their fun would have to be different. He scooted forward slightly, careful not to startle him. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. The dog's ears flicked, his body tense. "You need a name," Mikey continued. He tapped his fingers against his leg brace, thinking. "What about Rusty?" The retriever didn't react, but Grandpa Joe, who had been watching from his recliner, chuckled. "That's a strong name." Mikey beamed. "Yeah. Like an old, tough cowboy." He turned back to the dog. "What do you think, Rusty?" The retriever hesitated, then slowly, so carefully, took one small step forward. Then another. His nails clicked softly against the floor. Mikey held his breath. Rusty sniffed his outstretched hand, his golden fur brushing against Mikey's fingers. And then, as if he had finally decided, the dog lowered his head into Mikey's lap. Mikey's eyes widened, his fingers sinking into the soft warmth of Rusty's fur. A quiet, shaky breath escaped his lips. Sarah, watching from the kitchen, placed a hand over her heart. Rusty had made his choice. But the next few weeks were anything but easy. Rusty struggled to adjust. He had likely spent months fending for himself, and now he wasn't sure if he could trust this new routine. At night, he paced near the door, as if expecting to be kicked out at any moment. He flinched at sudden movements, shying away when Sarah reached down to pet him. And he never, ever barked, as if he had learned that making noise would get him in trouble. Mikey struggled too. He wanted to run with Rusty the way other kids did with their dogs. But when he tried to play in the backyard, his leg braces slowed him down. Rusty, watching from the porch, seemed hesitant to run too, almost as if he knew they both had limits. One afternoon, Mikey tried to teach Rusty how to fetch. Holding a tennis ball in his small hands, he grinned. "All right, boy, watch this." He threw the ball, but his movements were stiff, his balance unsteady. The ball only went a few feet before landing with a sad little bounce. Rusty tilted his head. Mikey sighed. "Okay, let's try again." He adjusted his stance, trying to throw harder, but his brace caught on the ground, and he stumbled. The ball rolled away, forgotten, as Mikey hit the grass with a frustrated grunt. Sarah rushed forward, but before she could reach him, Rusty was already there. The retriever nudged Mikey's arm, sniffing his face with a quiet whimper. His ears were pulled back, his eyes full of concern. Mikey blinked, his frustration fading. "I'm okay, Rusty." He let out a small laugh. "You worried about me?" Rusty let out a soft huff, almost like he was scolding him. Grandpa Joe, who had been watching from the porch, chuckled. "Looks like he's got your back, kiddo." Mikey's smile widened. That night, as Mikey lay in bed, he felt Rusty jump up beside him. The retriever curled into a warm golden ball, pressing against Mikey's side. Sarah, standing in the doorway, shook her head with a small smile. "I guess he's staying." Mikey grinned. Rusty was home. But just as they were learning how to navigate the world together, the world threw them a new challenge. It happened one afternoon when Mikey was walking home from therapy. Sarah usually picked him up, but today she was stuck at work, so Grandpa Joe walked with him. The neighborhood kids were racing their bikes down the sidewalk. As Mikey approached, one boy, Ryan Baxter, a kid from his school, slowed his bike and smirked. "Hey, Mikey," Ryan called. "Where's your race car?" Mikey frowned. "What?" Ryan snickered. "Well, you've already got the metal legs. All you need is some wheels." The other boys laughed. Mikey felt his cheeks burn. His fingers clenched around his backpack straps. He wanted to say something back, but what was there to say? And then, a deep, rumbling growl. Mikey turned in surprise. Rusty had stepped in front of him, his head low, his teeth just barely bared. Ryan stopped laughing. "Whoa," one of the boys muttered. Rusty didn't bark, didn't lunge. But his message was clear. Ryan swallowed, his confidence shrinking. "Whatever. Let's go." The boys rode off, their laughter less certain now. Mikey looked at Rusty, who had already relaxed, his tail wagging slightly as if nothing had happened. Grandpa Joe nodded approvingly. "Ain't no better friend than one who stands by you when it counts." Mikey smiled, ruffling Rusty's fur. Maybe he couldn't run like the other kids. Maybe Rusty couldn't run like the other dogs. But together, they were something even better. The air in the Thompson house felt heavier than usual. Sarah sat at the kitchen table, rubbing her temples, a pile of unpaid medical bills spread out in front of her. The hospital shifts had been long, and exhaustion pulled at her bones, but the weight on her shoulders wasn't just from work, it was from worry. Across the room, Mikey sat on the floor with Rusty, absently running his fingers through the retriever's golden fur. Rusty's tail wagged faintly, but even he could sense the tension hanging in the house. Sarah loved Rusty, she could see how much he had done for Mikey. But lately, she had been wondering if they had taken on too much. Vet bills, dog food, Mikey's therapy, it was all piling up. She sighed and looked over at her son. "Mikey, honey, we need to talk." Mikey looked up, instantly on edge. "About what?" Sarah hesitated. "Rusty's a good dog, but he needs a lot of care. And with my work schedule and your therapy, I don't know if we can handle everything." Mikey froze. "You're not saying?" I'm just saying, Sarah said quickly, choosing her words carefully, that maybe Rusty would be happier with a family that can give him more attention. Mikey's chest tightened. He looked down at Rusty, who had perked up, sensing his distress. Rusty wasn't just a pet. He was his best friend. His voice trembled. Rusty doesn't need another family. He needs me. Sarah sighed, guilt washing over her. I just want what's best for both of you. Mikey clenched his fists. Then why are you trying to take him away? Before Sarah could answer, Mikey pushed himself up and stormed toward the door. It wasn't easy with his braces, but anger fueled him. Rusty immediately followed, his ears back, his tail low. Mikey, Sarah called, but he was already outside. Mikey didn't know where he was going. He just walked, frustration boiling inside him. Rusty limped beside him, silent support, just like he always was. After a while, Mikey stopped at their usual spot, the old playground a few blocks from home. The swings creaked in the wind, and the air smelled like cut grass and warm pavement. Mikey sat down hard on a bench. His legs were sore. His heart hurt worse. Rusty settled at his feet, nudging Mikey's knee. Mikey sniffed. It's not fair, Rusty. The retriever tilted his head, listening. I already have to work harder than everyone else, Mikey muttered. Every day. Just to walk, just to move. And now Mom wants to take you away too? Rusty whined softly. Mikey wiped at his eyes. She doesn't get it. I don't need a perfect life. I just need you. Rusty didn't answer, of course. But he did something better. He stood up, took a shaky step back, and, without warning, jumped onto the playground slide. Mikey's breath caught. Rusty had always been careful, hesitant because of his missing leg. He never climbed things, never took risks. But now, he was determined. Mikey watched in awe as Rusty pulled himself up, his back legs struggling for balance, but he didn't stop. Didn't give up. He reached the top, turned to Mikey, and let go. For a moment, Rusty flew down the slide, his ears flapping in the wind. He landed clumsily, his legs fumbling as he hit the ground. But instead of being scared, Rusty wagged his tail. Mikey stared. Then, he laughed. A real, deep laugh that shook his whole body. Rusty trotted up to him, grinning, panting as if to say, See? I can do it. So can you. Mikey wiped his eyes again, but this time it wasn't sadness, it was understanding. Rusty had a missing leg. He had braces. They both had struggles. But Rusty wasn't focused on what he couldn't do. He was focused on what he could. And if Rusty wasn't giving up, then neither was he. That night, when Mikey walked back home with Rusty, Sarah was waiting on the porch. She looked worried. Mikey, I didn't mean. I know, Mikey interrupted. She blinked. You do? Mikey nodded, stepping up to her, his voice stronger than before. I know you're just trying to do what's best. But Rusty's my best friend. He's teaching me how to be strong. And I need him just as much as he needs me. Rusty, standing beside him, lifted his head proudly. Sarah's eyes softened. She looked between them, the boy who had fought so hard to be independent, and the dog who had fought just as hard to survive. She let out a long breath, then smiled. All right, she said. Then Rusty stays. Mikey's whole face lit up. Rusty, sensing the moment, jumped up, licking Mikey's cheek. Sarah shook her head with a small laugh. Maybe she had been looking at things the wrong way. Maybe Rusty wasn't just another responsibility. Maybe he was exactly what Mikey needed. The afternoon sun hung low in the sky, casting long golden rays over Maplewood Park. It was the first truly warm day in weeks, and the air was thick with the sound of children laughing, sneakers skidding over pavement, and the rhythmic squeak of the swings. Mikey stood near the edge of the playground, watching as the other kids ran across the field, their legs moving effortlessly, their laughter ringing through the air. He felt Rusty brush up against his side, the retriever's fur warm from the sun. Mikey smiled down at him. "We'll show them soon, won't we?" Rusty wagged his tail, his eyes bright with understanding. Grandpa Joe sat on a nearby bench, his hands resting on his cane, watching Mikey with quiet pride. "You ready, kiddo?" he asked. Mikey nodded. He had been working hard in therapy, practicing walking longer distances without help. Today was the first time he'd come to the park without his wheelchair. It wasn't easy, and his legs already ached, but he wasn't giving up. "Let's do it," Mikey said, gripping his braces. With careful steps, he began crossing the field, Rusty trotting beside him. Every step took effort, every shift of weight had to be controlled, but he was doing it. Then, in the distance, a squirrel. Rusty froze, his ears perked up. Mikey sensed it before it happened. "Rusty, wait." But it was too late. Rusty, driven by pure instinct, bolted after the squirrel. Mikey lost his balance. He teetered for a second, then fell hard onto the grass, his arms catching his weight just in time. His heart pounded. But his eyes weren't on himself. They were on Rusty, who was sprinting toward the road. Mikey's stomach dropped. "Rusty! Stop!" But Rusty wasn't listening, he was running straight toward oncoming traffic. Mikey scrambled to his feet. His braces made it impossible to run, but he started moving as fast as he could, panic surging through him. Grandpa Joe had stood up, his face pale. "Rusty!" A car came into view, too fast, too close. Rusty skidded to a halt in the middle of the street. Too late. Tires screeched. And then, Rusty turned back. And in that split second, he saw Mikey on the sidewalk, struggling toward him. And he did the only thing he could. He jumped toward Mikey. The car's horn blared. The impact wasn't direct, Rusty had managed to dodge, but the car's bumper clipped him, sending him rolling onto the pavement. Mikey screamed. The world felt too loud, and then suddenly too quiet. The car screeched to a stop. The driver, pale and shaking, jumped out. People gathered, murmuring, their voices blurred together in Mikey's ears. Rusty lay still. Mikey fell beside him, his hands shaking as he touched Rusty's fur. "Rusty," he whispered. His voice cracked. Rusty's body shuddered, and for a terrifying moment, Mikey thought, "No. No, this isn't happening." And then, Rusty lifted his head. Mikey let out a choked sob. "You're okay," he whispered. "You're okay." Rusty licked his hand, weakly, his tail thumping just once. Grandpa Joe was already on the phone, calling the vet. The driver offered to help, his voice full of guilt. Someone brought a blanket. Mikey didn't care about any of it. All he cared about was Rusty, who, even after everything, still looked at him like he was the most important thing in the world. Rusty had protected him once. And today, Rusty had saved himself for him. The waiting room at the veterinary clinic smelled like antiseptic and dog fur. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, filling the air with an unnatural hum. Mikey sat in one of the hard plastic chairs, his hands clenched in his lap, his eyes fixed on the swinging door that led to the examination rooms. Sarah sat beside him, one arm around his shoulders. She had driven straight to the clinic, her heart lodged in her throat the whole way. Grandpa Joe was across from them, his hands folded over his cane, his eyes thoughtful. No one spoke. Then, finally, the vet appeared. Mikey shot up, his lead braces clanking as he stood. "Is he okay?" Dr. Patel, a kind-faced woman in her 40s, gave a small smile. "He's going to be just fine." Mikey exhaled sharply, his shoulders sagging with relief. "He has some bruising and a few scrapes, but no broken bones. He'll be sore for a while, but he's a strong dog." She chuckled. "Honestly, I think he was more worried about you than himself." Sarah pressed a hand over her heart, her eyes glistening. Grandpa Joe let out a low whistle. Mikey, still processing the news, swallowed hard. "Can I see him?" Dr. Patel nodded. "Of course." They followed her through the door and into the back room. And there, curled up on a soft blanket, was Rusty. His golden fur was ruffled, and he had a small bandage on his side, but the moment he saw Mikey, his tail thumped weakly against the floor. Mikey let out a choked laugh. "You scared me, buddy." Rusty lifted his head, his brown eyes soft, and licked Mikey's hand as he knelt beside him. Sarah stood behind them, watching as her son buried his face in Rusty's fur, whispering things only Rusty could hear. And at that moment, she realized something. She had once worried that Rusty would be too much responsibility, that he would make life harder. But looking at them now, she understood, Rusty didn't make things harder. He made things possible. A few weeks later, Mikey and Rusty stood at the edge of the park, side by side. The sun was warm on their backs, and the world felt brighter than it had in a long time. Mikey looked down at Rusty. "Ready?" Rusty wagged his tail. Sarah and Grandpa Joe watched from the bench as Mikey took a careful step forward, then another. His braces still made things difficult, but there was something different now. He wasn't just walking. He was walking with confidence. Rusty matched his pace, moving in perfect sync, the way they always had. They weren't perfect. They weren't fast. But they were unstoppable. The golden hues of sunset stretched across Maplewood Park, casting long shadows as Mikey and Rusty walked side by side. The three-legged dog and the boy with braces, two souls who had been counted out, who had been told they were different, who had refused to let that define them. As Mikey took another determined step, Rusty nudged his hand, a quiet encouragement. Mikey smiled, his heart light. He wasn't thinking about what he couldn't do anymore. He was thinking about how far he had come. And maybe that was the lesson all along. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. We all carry scars, some visible, some hidden. We all stumble, we all fall. But in the end, what matters isn't how many times we've been knocked down. What matters is that we get back up. Mikey and Rusty were both given a second chance. And together, they proved that being different isn't a weakness. It's a strength. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever had an animal that changed your life? A pet that taught you something about love, loyalty, or resilience? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of courage, friendship, and second chances. Because sometimes, the most imperfect things in life turn out to be the most extraordinary. And if you agree, give Rusty a virtual belly rub in the comments. Until next time, take care, and never stop believing in the power of a second chance.